There used to be 1.5 million of them 100 years ago. Today, there are so few left that in 10 years, they might be extinct. What gets me is that it could all have been avoided. It was our greed that caused it. Should one ship miss this light, they could be destroyed. The African penguin is the only penguin in Africa. I'm privileged enough to be working in the biggest colony of the African penguin. Dawson Island is the second biggest of South Africa's islands, and I'm here most of the time. If you're looking from up above, you probably won't be able to see me. So I'm this small thing in this big island. It feels timeless when I'm here, really. I forget the date, I forget the time, I forget the day of the week. My second name is Birdie, and it comes from songbird. I sing, and therefore my friends gave me the nickname Songbird, and they cut it into Birdie. And that's how most people know me as. It's a bit weird for a person as young as I am to be living alone like this. But for me, I value this time that I have all by myself, all this solitude. The world is so busy out there. We're so consumed with running after this or that. And for me, this is a time to reflect and introspect and be who I am. There's no time to get lonely here. It's pretty relaxed, yes, but I've got things that are occupying me that make sure that I don't get lonely at all. There's a number of monitoring duties that I'm tasked with. In basic terms, it's collecting data out in the field, which is at the end of the day analyzed, and it gives us an idea of what goes on, the breeding of the penguins. We check all the burrows in the area. This helps us in tracking the breeding seasonality of the birds. With the studies conducted before, it's been found that 80 to 90% of the time they do mate for life. But with the breeding study that we do here, some of his penguins, they've got tags on them, so you do find them mixed up sometimes. They're not absolutely monogamous. Some of them do cheat, if we may call it that. They do cheat on their mates. They're very good at parenting. They take turns feeding the chicks when they've hatched. So both parents are responsible for the chicks, which is, I mean, we can learn a lot from this as humans. Penguins and humans compete for the same food source. They eat sardines, we eat sardines. The monitoring that we do, we can actually tell how much they eat and the quotas that can then be given to fishermen and the quotas that can be set aside for consumption by the penguins. When I was doing the monitoring in one of the areas on the other side of the island, I saw these 2 chicks. They could be abandoned, I'm not sure. So I'm just going to walk over there and check if they're okay. If they're underweight, then we're going to bring them through and see what we can do with them. When I wanted to get into conservation, it was a bit of a struggle. Actually, saying a bit of a struggle is putting it mildly. I had to cry, literally, to be able to enroll to study ecotourism. My parents didn't really understand. People still struggle to understand now why I want to be dressed in khakis and go work outside in the bush. Most likely was abandoned and therefore not fed for a few days or even a week. It's sad. The numbers are going down as it is, which makes it even more important for us to go and check on the 2 chicks that I've seen in the past 3 weeks there. So those are the 2 chicks I was talking about. They've got adults around them, so looks like they're taken care of. They look really healthy. They're not going to need my rescuing today, so just going to head back and check up on them some other time when I'm in the area. The island is closed off from the public. It's one of the very few places which are only concentrated on conservation and conservation alone. If I weren't here, people would just come and walk all over the place. There's a boat anchoring on the jetty. No one is allowed here, so I need to check on them and just see if they've got any problems. I see myself as some kind of guardianship. It's not that I assist in managing nature. I'm managing people more than anything else. Do you guys need any help with anything?
We just want to walk in the attic because you're not allowed.
You're not allowed to do that. Yeah. And you can't anchor on the jetty here. Yeah. Okay. The island is 220 hectares in total, and once every week I need to conduct one of the monitoring duties walking all around the island. That is one of the best things ever, because the whole day you're looking at nature, you're looking at birds flying around, you're looking at waves going up and down. We can't always get too close to the colonies, especially the cormorants and the pelicans. We try and work around them. We use telescopes to study them from afar and count the birds sitting in the colonies. I see 3 adult seals on that rock over there, and we're going to chase them off just now. We're just preventing them getting comfortable on the rock and start breeding, because then they eventually take up space, breeding space for birds. So that's what we do when we do the molt count. We chase them off from there. They do know that they're going to be chased off, so some of them run off as you approach, and some of them are a bit stubborn, and they stick around for a bit, but immediately you start throwing around rocks, then they go off. You know, they've never really given me reason to be scared of him. They've never attacked me or anything. So until then, I'm not scared of him. As society, we have lost our connection with and to nature. We are very busy with a lot of things. We are so occupied with meeting deadlines. We are so occupied with doing this and that. But I'm one of those people who have been privileged enough to be in nature and stay in nature. I get to see the different stages of life. There's a birth, there's the life stage, and there's death. And those sorts of things make you realize that it's just life being life, really. There's a time to give birth and there's a time to die. And this is one of the things that I've learned that's sort of allowed me to accept life as it is. I've lost my mother, but with being here, I've grown to understand that that's just... I've gotten to deal with that part of life. Yes, it hurts once in a while, but I've come to accept that that's just how life is. We are born and we serve a purpose in our lives. It might be 20 years for me, it was 40 years for my mother, and that's just how it was supposed to be. We're only supposed to draw lessons from life. As a child, I was involved in quite a number of environmental education programs. And it was like that we were planting an environmental seed in me, and it grew in and with me as I grew up. That has given me a reason to start a project where I can educate people about the environment with the hope to plant the seed in other upcoming young people. I've just been selected to go and represent South Africa as the Minister of Environment at the G8, G20 Youth Summit in Vancouver. I'm going to miss the island when I'm away. Being here for over a year in such solitude, it's become a part of my life. And when I'm away, I long to come back. But, you know, with the work that we do, we need to go out there. Information needs to be taken to the people so people know exactly what's going on. The main message that I want to take across to the summit is the fact that we have a beautiful world. And what we still do have left, we must do all we can to keep that as natural as possible and preserve that for future generations. In this time of fear, when prayer so often proves in vain, hope feels like a summer bird just swiftly flown away. But we are not afraid, although we know there's much to fear. We were moving mountains alone before we knew we could. Oh yes, there can be miracles when you believe. The hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can